How's everybody doing tonight? Let's take a look at some stuff. I decided to take out the toys again. We have some potential weather to talk about. Right now, we have obviously some storms ongoing in the Dakotas, and they are rather robust at this current time. You can take a look at the Bismarck radar. Some discrete cells, actually. So animate that out. I've also got them behind me on the the 75-inch Newark touch panel. These cells are looking pretty good, though. Tornado risk is pretty pronounced in the Dakotas today. And we're going to be watching kind of a combination of this activity up here, as well as this activity, to kind of move in this direction and merge into a bit of a squall line that might move through sometime between 6 a.m. and 11 a.m. And now you've heard this story 100,000 times, but what might be the factor here is how long does this activity hang out in the morning and how much does it zap the energy out of the atmosphere? Because we have a pretty good chance of some severe weather again tomorrow. So let's take a look at some stuff. It's the HRRR. And you can see kind of lukewarm today. All the heat is out in the Dakotas. And so we're going to take a look at a couple of different things. Mainly severe weather action here. So we have surface-based CAPE. You can see it's all to the west right now. This is the energy you kind of need to boost things up in the atmosphere, get that convection going. And so if we kind of drag this along, you can see that it's just hanging out for now. It's just hanging out to the west. But then as we get into tomorrow, starts to surge back into southern Minnesota. So now this run only goes out 18 hours because this is the new, this is the HRRR, but it's not the longer run. Those usually go out at certain increments. I want to say 18Z. Next one will probably be coming up, but where we get a longer view, I should say. It goes out further. But the instability is going to be right on our doorstep, kind of hugging the Minnesota River Valley. And then we can take a look at the lifted index. We'll go out to the end of the frame as well. So we're going to be looking at values of, minus 13, 14 or so to the south, which is pretty good. And again, this doesn't go out to the full range. This is only going out to about noon. So by the time we get to the late afternoon, this surge is going to be right over the Twin Cities. So in fact, I want to actually go to a previous run. Oops, wrong one. Go to the 18Z. So this goes out longer. So you can see it goes out 48 hours. So we start to get that CAPE going, the surface-based lifted index tomorrow, surging into the Twin Cities. And then you can see, indicative of those storms forming, you get kind of those blue shapes right over the metro. That's that kind of energy being zapped out of here as those storms come through. But we're going to take a look at the shear profiles. Looking pretty good for the shear. You can see a pretty good ample amount of wind shear moving into the area. And it kind of falls apart as we get through the late evening, as you'd expect. But then it resurges again over the area into the early hours of Sunday. So there could be another round of storms. Let's take a look at the supercell composite. So this kind of shows you that energy that's supportive of supercells is going to be in the region in the afternoon again. Now this is contingent on how quickly that clears out in the morning, of course, for those storms. And then we'll take a look at the significant tornado parameter. Similar criteria here. So you can see a corridor that might really ignite just west of the Twin Cities. And it really, that's pretty much the area. I'll show you on the SPC website in a second, but we're going to be looking, this is updraft helicity. This shows you where we might have rotating thunderstorm tracks, so it kind of paints little streaks on the map, and that is going to highlight, see tonight it's showing those North Dakota storms. In the beginning of the morning, a little bit happening with that Bo echo situation. But then as we get into tomorrow, you can see some new tracks kind of populating over the area. So it looks like south central Minnesota, really just west of the Twin Cities, could be under the gun for some of those storms that are rotating. So now let's take a look at the reflectivity anticipated. So you can see this is an older run. Remember, this is the 18Z, so I wanted it to go out further, but you can see that bow structure moving in. Now let's rewind that a second. This is about 7 a.m., 8 a.m. So between 7 and 9, this thing should be moving through if this model is right. It's not to say that this will be right. So don't necessarily get your hopes up too much on that. But today we have the enhanced risk in North Dakota, slight risk encroaching on the western part of Minnesota as well as the marginal risk. This is likely emphasized because of the fact that we have that bow echo that might move in overnight. Tornado threat primarily in the Dakotas right now, as well as the wind and hail threat. As we get into the day 2 outlook, we do have that area, including the Twin Cities, and west of us is kind of that corridor of storms. Now again, it depends on how quickly that activity in the morning clears out, but you can see we're pretty much in the bullseye for the tornado activity. So we're in a 2% and a 5%. You might think those numbers don't seem like much, but that's a 2% or a 5% chance of a tornado within 25 miles of any given point in those circles. So it's actually a pretty good risk, the 5%. And then we look at the wind risk as well as the large hail risk. So tornadoes and torrential rain really the threat tomorrow with some of those potential training thunderstorms that are going in and out of the area. So a lot to talk about. The morning could be a bumpy one actually. So this could be a situation where some of you lose power in the morning and then it's going to be nice and hot as we get into the day tomorrow. 90s with dew points that are really getting up there. So we'll take a look at that really quick as well. Actually, sorry, surface temperatures. So we're going to be looking at temperatures that are surging up into the upper 80s and low 90s for the parts of Minnesota as we get into tomorrow. So this is getting into the overnight cooler, and then we get that surge of warmth coming back into Minnesota. So and then you can see it starts to clear out as we get into the late part of the evening. Let's take a look at dew points, though. This is the part you're not going to like if you don't like humidity. 60s today. It's still pretty juicy out. You can see that purple, though, staying to the west right now, and then as we get into tomorrow, those 70 dew points just surge back up into the area. So we could be looking at dew points near 78 at one point tomorrow, 72 to 78. So it's going to be a very sticky day tomorrow. A lot of energy for those storms, so, and it's going to be close to home. It's going to be something you're going to want to pay close attention to. So just thought I'd give you a little bit of a rundown tonight. And I'm going to show you some other stuff too coming up on this big board behind me, which is the 75-inch touch panel. It's like a giant Android, and I'm going to show you some stuff on here in a bit, but you can zoom in and look at all these fun storms on this thing. It's pretty cool stuff. So I will get after it and show you another video on that, but for now, stay safe tomorrow, stay cool. If you're up at the cabin, have a warning source. If you're camping, have a warning source. Don't sit too close to trees. Don't park under any trees. You know, these storms could be moving in quick. So especially the ones after midnight tonight. And those timelines were for the metro. So we could be looking at 3 to 7 a.m. for St. Cloud, even earlier, midnight to 3 from, say, Fargo, Grand Forks over to like Bemidji, kind of a thing. I know that area is still recovering from the last round of extra severe winds. So it's going to be a bumpy 36 hours, and we have potential for more storms on Sunday, and then next week, maybe quieting down a little bit, but this is kind of our time to shine for active weather in the upper Midwest as we kind of ride the perimeter of that heat ridge. So, all right, guys, stay safe, stay tuned.